YouTube. So we just had a bit of a giggle because we've tried to introduce this video a couple of times, but someone keeps mowing the fucking lawn behind us. So we'll try again, third time lucky. Just popped outside, get a bit of fresh air. We've got this beautiful outside area where we're actually living. There's a lot of building work going on at the moment, so it's good, just nice to kind of get out, get some fresh air, get the lovely Monte Cristos on the go towards the end of this one now. But we're just having a really good conversation in the car this morning around anxiety, and I watched this podcast. I can't remember the name of this psychologist, but she was talking about anxiety, and it's a really, really interesting point of view. And what she was talking about is the difference between like being comfortable and being uncomfortable. And 100 years ago, 200 years ago, anxiety wasn't a thing, and it's something that's been created in almost like this newer generation. Now, I'm not saying anxiety is not real, I'm not saying that I don't have sympathy for people that do, but it's a really interesting concept that I really wanted to talk about. And to be honest, I do agree with the sort of perspective that this psychologist actually had. So what she was talking about was anxiety is actually formed because when you're uncomfortable, you naturally have this fear before you actually put yourself in that uncomfortable position. And like ages ago, like years and years and years ago, everyone just got on with it anyway. There wasn't really...
Everything was an uncomfortable position, wasn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't really many comfortable positions back then. Whereas nowadays, you can have your food delivered to your door, you can have a roof over your head paid by the taxpayer, let's be honest. So you don't... There's far too many comfortable positions now for you to not really be uncomfortable that often. So when you do put yourself in these uncomfortable positions, there's naturally this fear. And it's just like when we're at school. Let's say you have like a school play and you had to step up on stage and maybe talk to the whole school. You would absolutely shit yourself before you actually stood on stage. And where I'm kind of going with this is the more and more that you avoid putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions, the larger and larger that fear actually is behind actually doing that particular thing. And we was just having a conversation about, because Liv's just started college, and I said to her, was you nervous, was you scared before you actually went in on your first day? She said, yeah, absolutely, but I still went. And that's really important, because if you were really, really nervous and scared and you didn't go, the second time you tried to go,
it'd be even worse.
It'd be even worse. You'd have even more fear, and then actually putting yourself in uncomfortable positions becomes harder and harder and harder. And that's what this psychologist was talking about, and that's where this whole version of anxiety actually comes into play. Now, I'm not saying that I'm against it or anything like that, but it's just a different perspective. So the next time that you feel uncomfortable, just put yourself in that position anyway, because the more and more that you avoid it and you retract, it becomes worse and worse and worse, and harder and harder and harder to do certain things that are uncomfortable. And a lot of people mix anxiety with the fear of feeling uncomfortable. So the next time that you feel like you've got anxiety, just kind of question it and think, am I just really nervous about stepping foot into this situation, or is it actually anxiety?